You guys said that the magic in this combination was that no one had to adapt. But now you've been a band together for a couple of years. And I'm wondering, as a band together, how you've not adapted so much as, you know, sort of gelled more, congealed, become more of a unit.
Yeah, we've tightened up a bit.
Yeah. Like,
You know.
I think it's only
Not quite that tight.
When,
No, not quite that
Don't sound
tight.
like that, but it's...
Yeah. When you're with the same guys all the time, it just it
Hey,
tends to
come on,
happen.
we live next door to each other.
You guys like
That's
each other
pretty
that
tight.
much, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
You got
but
a
no,
good
but
deal.
just now it's too late to move, and there's all kinds of problems with both
Yeah, I
now.
mean, he likes me that much, but I don't like him.
It's the neighbor that's in between us that has the problems.
Oh,
bet.
yeah,
It's one house in between us, and we use their yard like it's our own. It's like, hi, they're eating dinner, walk by.
And what do they do for a living?
I don't know.
I just wondered if it's like an accountant or somebody
No,
who's
I
like...
see a lot of people in and out of that house.
Yeah, I don't know what they do for this.
And all the little packages.
And then they got this big steel door in the front.
Oh, dear.
Bars on the windows.
Funny hats.
You guys hang out, obviously, then. I mean, not just when you're working, but when you're always working.
Yeah, we're
You know,
always
it's
working
not-
so
it's not
far.
really
We haven't had a
working.
chance to just be friends yet. Maybe next year we try that one on.
Starting these things.
Go ahead. Alex has something he wants to say.
Nothing of any
Come on, no, go ahead.
No, we don't actually, like, go out and party, because none of us really ever go to clubs and hang out that often, you know?
But we spend a lot of time together. It's like, you know, if I see Edward down the beach, I go down there. Or if he sees me down there, he comes down, hey, you know, I'm coming down, you know.
And Alex, I have another house. Al lives like 2 minutes away, so we see each other every day. The only one, Mike, the only one we never see is him. He lives out in Booniesville.
You guys all live next door to each other in different locations.
And Mike doesn't invite us to his house because we have to go so far. By the time we get there, we get
By the
tore
time
up,
Sammy
and then we
gets
all
there,
have to
yeah.
stay all night. And Mike's...
What is this, like Simi Valley or something?
Uh,
Or further than that, you're not going to say, of
Say
course.
between here and Palm Springs.
Oh, my God. Rolling Stone magazine said that having Sammy in the band freed you, Eddie, to indulge more in heavy melody to build stronger, more lasting choruses. Do you think that's true?
yes?
You said it like a
Throw
question.
in.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, do you
Yes.
feel freer?
Well, you mean as opposed to the old model?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever really been, let me just say yes.
Okay. That sounds fair. And how else do you think, you know, when there's 4 people and 1/4 is a different person, that's got to change the dynamic of the entire band. The whole is
So
different.
this guy has such a range. I mean, he can sing anything, low, high, in between. I mean, you know, like a baby come on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he can sing anything. That's what I meant by, you know, it just opens up a whole new dimension.
And how,
We all inspire each other, seriously. You know, same with me being, I've never been with musicians that played like this, and so I start saying, whoa, you know, I can do this now, you know, or something that's been inside that you just never could quite, an idea you couldn't quite get out because, you know, you don't bring a certain idea into a band that people can't understand or play.
how about
And that's all, just different.
personality-wise? I mean, you know, in terms of the atmosphere, how do you think I mean, obviously, Sammy, you can't answer this.
We have fun.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
it's the
It's
most
fun.
It's the most fun situation I've ever been in my life. I laugh more with these guys than anybody, and I'm not joking. I mean, it's a gas. This guy walks in every day with some new joke. So does Al. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We out of a day when we're supposed to start at about 1 o'clock and work till about 8, we probably put in a true hour and a half of work. The rest of the time is spent joking.
We're jiving around,
Oh,
goofing
yeah.
off. You know, we have fun together.
Which is why you don't have to worry about hanging out at clubs together, because you're
Yeah.
doing the exact
But
same
that-
thing.
but
It'd be a drag to go somewhere.
But that is why. But that is why we have to worry about getting the deadline for the album done.
Are you pushing it now? I mean, are you real
Oh,
worried?
we're you know, it's 11th hour.
And you're
Well, you know
getting-
the old adage, given a day, it'll take a week. So somewhere there has to be some kind of a border to what time you're going to have the album ready, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, it probably would take 5 years because, let's face it, if you're really true to your art, you're never quite 100% happy. There's always something that you could have done better. And, you know, fortunately, there is such a thing as, well, the record has to be out now. So
Right.
that's it. And again, of course, the most important thing is that the feeling is there.
So you just...
Right around January, when we found out we had a deadline, is when we really started working hard.
Yeah, we found out the deadline had to be the end of January.
Before that, we weren't working very hard, but we were doing great stuff, but we just weren't going in there and slaving and pushing ourselves.
We weren't taking it as serious until we got the deadline, you know.
We were just kind of having fun. We feel like playing. We go in and play for fun. And in a way, that stuff is great, the way to do basic tracks, because it's got a good, fun feeling. It don't have a work vibe to it at all.
Right.
Which I think picks up. I mean, obviously, people listening to it are listening to it for fun.
It sounds like a couple of these songs, and I guarantee you, when people hear them, they're going to crack up laughing. It's got that much fun.
But in a happy way. They
exactly.
go, wow, yeah, I dig that vibe.
Yeah, it's like they're going to laugh at the fun we're having and the goofiness and the fact that we're doing some outrageous stuff.
So you changed the band, Sammy, by bringing in this fun element that maybe was missing with the tension before.
No, the band was just sitting there ready for something, and whether it had been me or some other guy, whoever would have come in would have changed, would have made it different.
Sure.
And just what I came in and the way we all blended made it what it is now, and it just, it's great.
How do you compare working, though, within a structure of a band to working on your own? I mean, obviously you have to...
No different.
Bullshit.
Within this band,
let me answer for him.
Within this band, there's no difference for me.
Yeah,
for me, there's no difference.
Before solo artists, you were doing everything. Now you're only doing a quarter.
Oh yeah, okay. As far as the interviews, all the other stuff, but I mean, as far as the musical end of it, that's all I think about. Is no different. I'm writing the same lyrics I'd write on my own. I'm more inspired.
Yeah, but you used to have to write the music and everything else too.
But still, whatever I put into this, I don't adapt to this band in any way, and they didn't adapt to me in any way. It's like it's no different as far as saying, well, I have to be like this now.
No, I didn't actually mean that way. I meant just in terms of less responsibility.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying.
I can always say, hey, somebody says, wow, I don't dig that song. I say, yeah, I know, I didn't have that much to do with writing it.
He goes, man, I'm sitting at the beach here soaking up the rays, man. What do I got to come in for?
Man, you guys can handle
hear a bass guitar solo.
Call me when you're ready for a vocal.
But if it was your solo record, you would be there.
But if it was your solo record, you'd be able to call all the shots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Well,
I did that long
quite
enough,
honestly,
to be honest with you.
Quite honestly, the thing of if, that's not the point, because the fact is he's here now, so that's basically it.
So that says...
Wow.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that the fact that each one of us is different, but yet there is an underlying thing that kind of makes us one, which is we do have a common thing. And that is just the music that we want the best as we can.
Oh,
be.
that. Oh.
What is that common?
It's not late night here. So. But see, that's what makes it interesting.
How many interviews we can do in one day?
And make them different.
And that's
no, we are different enough, but not to the point where it becomes so lopsided that the direction of what we were really interested in becomes totally off base.
Right. You say each of you is different. I'd like to really put you all on the spot and have you define and describe the personality and the musical contribution of the person sitting to your right.
You're off the hook.
This guy over here doesn't do jack shit.
So what are you paying him for?
You got just for that. Make him start with Mike.
Big Al
You start with Mike.
gives me a beat to play.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, obviously. Oh,
Big Al
okay.
gives me a beat to play too here.
And what about
He's
as a person?
He's my rhythm bud. See, we're the rhythm section here. So I can't say anything bad about Al, even if I wanted to.
The rhythm buds?
And what about as a person?
Al's a great guy. Al's one of the biggest pranksters. I think when I first met him, it was like he was pulling pranks all the time, and
He seems so serious.
Al's, he's a fun guy to be around.
Well,
Boy, did it get quiet.
Well, I'm getting excited.
Okay, it's your turn.
Well, I don't get to go back to Mike.
No, you
know
don't.
about Sammy, I think...
Don't forget, I'm looking at you.
That's all right, I understand. I think, musically, I think Sammy's been, not to put you in a kind of a rough spot or anything, but I think he's been one of the underrated singers ever. I don't think he's ever had the opportunity to be as flexible as he has, especially on this new record. And as far as personality-wise, I think he's a good example to kind of keep things in balance. It's easy to kind of go, it's nice to go to the edge, so to speak, because that's what rock and roll has always been about. But the smart person knows when to stand back. You look down, okay, turn around and then go back. And of course, you see how far each time, how much closer to the edge you can get. But, if an example is such a thing that you follow a good example, I think Sammy is a good example.
Okay, it's your turn, Sam. You get to do Eddie.
Well, this man here is, as a person, hard guy to get to know. Even though you feel close from the first time I ever met him, I felt like real close, like I've known him for, you know, lifetimes and lifetimes. And then you start realizing throughout those lifetimes, you probably really never got to know the cat because he's kind of a mysterious human being. But the creativity side of him is real revealing to the inside of Edward Van Halen. When he plays and all those things, you hear some real depth and some stuff to where you know it's deep. It's not lightweight stuff.
And you get to do Mike.
Hmm?
You get to do Mike. We'll forget about the guy who sits right next to you.
I'll never forget the very first time when we were playing in high school and Mike had a band called Snake and they opened for us and I was sitting out in the audience going, look at this dude. He was lead singing, playing bass, doing everything, and he was a bad mofo, you know. And I turned to Al and I went, hey, we got to get this guy in our band, you know. And he's an incredible...
Oh. That's a fuse?
You know the real reason why we like Mike so much?
Why?
Because he makes us all look smarter.
I was sitting out in the audience watching Mike in his band called Snake, and he was lead singing and playing bass, like great, you know. And I went, hey Al, that's what we need for a bass player, you know. So we both went to the same junior college in Pasadena, and somehow a friend of mine got his number. I called him up a couple of weeks later. He was in the band, and he has a very unique voice. I don't know anybody that can sing higher than him except sometimes Sammy.
Depending on the word.
No, in the studio we call him Cannon Mouth. Because when we're all three singing around the same microphone, here's Sammy and I, and Mike's back here. Anyway, you know, he basically can play anything you ask him to play, and he's got a hell of a voice, and without him, Van Halen would not be.
And what kind of person?
Pardon?
You did him musically, but...
Man, he's...
Here's your chance, Ed.
Oh, here we go.
Don't say it, Ed. Don't say it.
Don't say what? Oh, the truth? Oh, don't worry about that. No, he's just, to me, Mike is an all-American kind of guy. No, he really is. You know, he's
Oh, gee whiz, Ed.
no, I gotta say that out of the four of us, he's the homebody.
Is that true?
It is to a certain
Yeah, I
extent.
guess you could say those. Yeah, to a
You know, he
certain
goes to
extent.
Lake Havasu on the weekends, and you know,
Lives out in the boonies.
he's a family man, you know.
He's almost
But he's
normal.
also, but he's
almost
but he's
normal.
also a heavy-duty partier when you let him
Yeah.
away from his
That's
wife.
where he almost comes in.
Just don't worry, it's only showing in Europe. Just don't let your wife go to Europe and watch television.
Well, that's what I was playing on Center when we went on the road.
Oh dear, well we'll have to cut this out, won't we? What about, now that you've defined each other, now we know the ingredients of Van Halen, how would you define Van Halen?
Me first?
Sure, or even just one of you. Yeah, you could.
I think one of the most unique rock and roll bands today that doesn't sell out to cheap gimmickry or anything like that. I think we are for real in everything we do. We don't contrive anything. We're not fake. We don't know how to act like certain people. You know, I think we're a rare breed nowadays, and I think we're a type of band that will last forever.
I think that's a good enough. Nobody could top that definition, I don't think.
Well, I could, but wait a minute.
Do you guys still go to Claudio Zampoli?
Of course.
Yes?
Yeah,
Not me.
More often than ever.
Yeah.
Count me out.
No? Did you send him a thank you note or flowers or anything?
Oh, no, we bring him our cars every day.
Yeah, we helped him open up a new
man,
dealership.
he double charges us.
He's got platinum albums on the walls. We sent him, and I've sent him from my EB before. I was in his band, and he's still. We're suing him right now, but he's great.
I think Claudio is the prime example of the old adage that in rock and roll there is really no age barrier. I mean, here's a guy who's about 50 years old, and he comes to the shows, and he can't go without having at least a daily dose of some kind of rock and roll, and not only his lifestyle but the music. So it's kind of a trip to see a guy that age get off on it.
I dig hanging out at his shop. I mean, he's got a bunch of old guys just being like, you know, they just, all these old Italian guys that love working on Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff, and they're just neat as a diversion. Before coming to the studio, I'll drop one of my cars off there to have the oil change or something, and you end up staying and shooting the crap for about 2 hours with these guys because they're just old classic guys sit around and shoot the bull with, you know.
And you can only understand.
Sammy, I have fixed
every
the
other
car.
word
I
they
have
say.
fixed the car.
True Italians, you know.
They just say,
oh,
let's see,
great
you
guys.
want to have something to eat? You know, you sit at a table, you start opening up wine and breaking bread. You know, it's cool. It's a neat diversion. You know, when you walk-
Manja.
Yeah, when you walk out there, you feel kind of refreshed. I do.
That's
And a little
great.
bit less broke. I mean, you have a little bit less money, but it's
Is he
still
very?
good.
Is he
It's worth-
extremely
it's worth
expensive?
the price.
Claudio?
No, just that those kind of cars are extremely expensive. If they need a spark plug, it costs 3 times as much. Oh, this is for Ferrari.
Yes, this is very important. Is there a Van Halen philosophy? I've read that there is, but is that true?
Meaning?
Well, in Rolling Stone, I think it said the Van Halen philosophy is, as Count Basie said, if it sounds good to you, it is good.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's basically just, you know, musically, we probably do everything backwards and different than, like you were saying earlier, layering this and that and everything else. I mean, the last track we just cut, all 4 of us were in one room, 2 microphones. I mean, this is something they did in the 30s, you know? Okay, so our philosophy is no matter how you achieve it, if it sounds good, it is good. Who cares if you didn't do it modernly or whatever?
Or technically
Yeah,
right.
that's what I meant, you know.
Or digitally.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just making it feel good. And
You know, it just makes sense. If something sounds good, it is good. Who cares how you did it?
I've also read that you guys have said music is your drug. Music is like a drug.
Hey, man, it pumps me up.
Hey, every time we throw down a new song or something and play it back, you know, when we're recording it, you know, you don't hear it really like you're sitting there when you play it back from the tape. You're concentrating on your stuff. You go back and you hear when you got one of those magical takes. Believe me, man, it'd put a jack on you. It'd be like about 3 pots of coffee, or you know, a couple of this or a couple of that. You know, it's like
Couple 3.
Yeah, a couple
Yeah,
three.
couple three.
It'll do it for you. And walking out on stage playing music is probably one of the greatest highs that you can really, really have.
You can't buy it in pill form.
But doing what we do is like such a high. So it's a dangerous thing. It's part of the danger of being, you know, a rock and roll celebrity or something, being able to walk on stage, play for 80,000 people, and become that high and that excited that a lot of times in between that life, some people can't handle it when you're just sitting around your house doing nothing, and that's when a lot of people become, you know, alcoholics or drug addicts, or go out and, you know, in the streets and partying and getting car wrecks, and it's like it's pretty hard to come down off sometimes.
Well,
unless
once
you're
you get
completely
that high, you
exhausted.
want it all the time.
Yeah, it's
you know?
actually that good,
Yeah.
and it is a dangerous thing, but is what you do is the way we beat it is we beat ourselves to death on stage, so when we walk off, we can't even do anything. They carry us back to the hotel and put us to bed, and then we wake up ready to go, you know.
How long can you do that? How long? I mean, you guys are not like a rock and roll band that, you know, I can see mellowing, really. I mean, you are a kick-ass rock and roll band. Can you do it till you're 60?
I don't think age has anything to do with the inner motivation or the inner, you know, thing. You know, I mean, obviously, if I get arthritis and I can't walk around anymore, it's going to be a little more difficult. But, you know, the mental, the heart, you know, I don't think that's ever going to leave me.
Yeah, you want to do new things, and as long as you don't get bored with it, I don't either. Same thing. It's like until we start rehashing or feel like we're just kind of going in circles and doing the same thing, going, God, we're going here again. That's kind of the idea of the Monsters, is that it's something new, and all the bands involved in it, I think, feel the same way. It's really stimulating, and it's almost like doing your first tour ever again. And we're all like going, wow, this, you know, oh, this is going to be great. And that's what you want. That's what I look for anymore. And as long as there's some of that there, joining this band was really like that for me. As long as some of that type of motivation and excitement is there, no reason to hang it up.
So the future for Van Halen is unlimited.
Monsters
said it,
of rock
Stars.
right now.
You said it.
Okay.
Like Dream said, higher and higher.